Hello, I'm Dr. Paul, and this is my beautiful wife, Lynn. And today we're going to talk about one of our products called anxiety relief. Now, anxiety is getting to be a big problem for a lot of people because of the stresses of the way we live today. I'll let Lynn give an introduction to this topic.
Well, anxiety not only affects people, ourselves and our families, but it's also affecting the pets that we have in our lives too. And so if you just look at the headlines, I could probably run through 10, 20 things really quickly that we could figure out what to be anxious about. But for a lot of people, anxiety can be like a low hum, just always kind of there in the background. And it also often accompanies financial conditions, work conditions, and health conditions. So when you're looking at how can you manage that, is there a way to manage it without numbing yourself with some of the things that are available to use for anxiety, but that also have a numbing effect? So, Paul, what do we have in anxiety?
Anxiety is a combination of zinc oxide, that's the main ingredient, and zinc oxide, zinc, it makes a connection with the emotional parts of the brain and the body. CO2 is also in there. The carbon is in the CO2 makes the connection with the human body. And then CH3, which acts as a booster, it's a rudimentary sugar and an energy source. There's also CBD oil in this GANS, and amino acid hemoglobin, and a little bit of B9 Korean salt. So it's a hearty combination, and you can see in this bottle here we have a vial in the bottom that holds the mother source, and then we just use the water that's in the jar. We don't ever open the vial. Now there are some places on the internet where you'll read that you need to take the water out of the vial and add it to another container full of water, let it sit, and charge that water. Well, I guess you could do that if you want the hassle, but you don't have to. All you have to do is take your vial and put it in a container like this, use the water, and when the water gets used down to about halfway, you fill it back up with water. And then you never open the vial. You don't have to worry about spilling it, contaminating it, or anything like that.
Or dropping and breaking it.
Or dropping and breaking it, right. And we have found this to be a very effective product, especially in pets that are anxious. And we've had quite a few people who have told us that they've used it and have experienced a calming effect.
Well, now with the pets, that might bring up a good question. Pets and people, what are you going to do if you maybe want a bit of a continuous source, or if you're in a situation that you know it's going to be an anxiety-producing situation? I'm a real proponent of using bandanas and scarves because you can always, now I don't know about the cats, it's going to have to be a small scarf for the cat. But you see a lot of dogs that have bandanas tied around their necks, and you can take the anxiety. Now see, in this we have another vial source inside the water, and the water we use is either a good quality spring water, and you'll want to be sure and see a chance meeting at a mountain spring, which is a video we just put up. When we went to get some water, Paul uses a lot of this mountain spring water in all his processes in making GANs, but it was kind of an impromptu lesson on plasma energy with a man and his son who were also there getting water, and they wanted to know what Paul was getting the water for. And so there's an interesting discussion that follows that. And so you're using a good quality spring water, good quality well water. If you're in the city, you can use distilled water. You can get a zero water filter or a similar filter like that. I recommend the more costly filters. The zero water filters will last generally 4 to 6 weeks, and you replace the filter. Now those filters are around $23 wherever you happen to find the best deal on them. But I did have somebody tell me who uses this that because it was next to her, she put her Clear Mind and Clean Mouth vials on the zero water pitcher, and she started noticing that her filter was lasting longer. I had also noticed that with one, but I hadn't heard from anyone else, so I really hadn't said anything about it. But you may get 8 to 10 to 12 weeks and even longer out of your water filter just with having a GANS placed with it. So anyway, with your pets and even with yourself, now here's anxiety. And let's say you're just working on something at your desk and hey, maybe it's your checkbook, right? You can just reach over and have a little anxiety spray. You can do this and just put a little around like that. If you're going to put it on the cat, I would suggest you put some on your hands and then rub your cat down. And I will, while we're talking about cats, I will mention we have a cat that was foundling she and the other kittens in the litter were dumped in a snowstorm, very cold in December. And so the person who rescued them found them all homes. She eventually ended up moving and couldn't take who is now our cat Wren with her. Well, Wren was just really an anxious cat. She probably will never ever go outdoors again in this lifetime. If the door opens, she's not even remotely interested. But she just showed a lot of anxiety, and it was easy to hiss and easy to run, easy to hide. And I decided I'm going to put some anxiety relief in her water. And so I just took a vial and put it in a drinking water bowl that I have, and along with a couple of others that I thought would be good for both cats. And it really has smoothed out her personality. She used to hiss all the time at our grandson. And time has gone by, and I think she's forgotten about it, because she really is pretty friendly with him now and will allow petting and everything else. So when you have a pet who's really anxious, I would really recommend the anxiety relief. Now, when we send it to you, it's going to come in a vial like this when the weather's good. And this is the size vial that we send. When it's wintertime and everything freezes, lucky you, you're going to get a much bigger vial. And the reason for that is that this is a BPA-free plastic vial. Even if it freezes, it will not break. And I tested these, I put them in the freezer, froze them solid, took them out, threw them on the floor. They didn't break, so that passed my breakage test. If you're outside of the country and you order the Anxiety, what you're going to receive is a pair of pads. Now these are getting ready for me to put together. So these are going to be put together with, here's the size, and I'm going to take three quarters and put them together as one patch, okay, and then the other quarter will be the other, and you get kind of a gradient condition. Then these patches go on the outside of your clear glass or clear plastic container. Now obviously you're going to use a way bigger container than I'm showing you here with my spray vial. You can even, if you're going to make some for other people in the family or for friends, you can even make this size, okay, and use them. Size does not matter with plasma energy. We found that when we doused the energy fields, and we found that the energy fields for the 16 vial plasma energy station, for the pads, pair of pads that were this size, and for the pair of pads that were this size, were all over 30 feet. It did not matter. Do you have something you want to add to that, Paul?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about along with the anxiety relief is our peace. And you'll often see when you look at the ingredients that there seems to be similarities over and over and over, but there's sometimes other ingredients that we may not have listed. There are sometimes very different proportions that we may not have listed. Now with the peace vial, what would I be doing with that? Well, you know, one thing you can do with peace is just take it around and spray it around your house, and spray it on your plants. You can, I took some vials, and this would be a great one to use. I happen to use our plasma energy station, but I got little Carmex jars about this big. Well, little jars that were the size of Carmex. I filled them with station water, and I dug little holes around the perimeter of our property and put those little jars in them, covered them over with dirt and rocks, and it doesn't matter if it freezes in the winter because the plasma energy fields are still there. So I have those around the perimeter of the property. Well, I have a friend who took the same idea and made patches and put under rocks around the apartment building she lives in, and the landscapers came and moved them all. So she said, well, now what do I do? And I said, you know what? Take your spray bottle and go spray the rocks around the perimeter, and the water will always, the plasma energy will always be there unless they haul all the rocks away. But since the rocks are part of the landscaping design, that's probably not going to happen. So those are some of the ideas as far as using anxiety relief as well as our peace formula.
And the main ingredient in the peace formula is zinc, and zinc is has a calming effect and a soothing of the emotions. So it contributes greatly to cooperation between people, and that's why we use zinc oxide in the peace formula.
And when we're talking about zinc and CO2 and CH3, we're talking about all of these as the GANs, the plasma state. Do you want to explain what the GANs is, since we talked about it?
Well, the GANs is the particles that you see in the bottom. In fact, I've got some this is the dark part here in the bottom is the GANS part. And the water is what we use. We don't use the GANS, we just use the water. Now there's always a few very fine particles of GANS in the water, but we're not making an effort to totally separate them. We're just using the water and keeping the GANS because it's like the battery that charges the water. But there, like I say, there is always a few particles of GANS in the water. Even the water that we ship out, there's always a few fine particles in there, even though you don't see a buildup in the bottom of the jar.
Well, we want to thank you for watching this, and we hope you'll give us a thumbs up and share this with others, and if you would like to subscribe. And we have quite a few other videos that we've done. Do you want to just give an idea of a few of them we've done?
Well, we've done a video on support for Lyme disease. We've done a video on shungite and the uses of the Russian rock called shungite for anti-EMF protection. And what else have we done? Arthritis, the benefits of plasma energy for arthritis.
We've done something on the plasma energy station.
Yes, there. If you go to our channel, I think it's, how's that listed under Lynn Schmaltz?
You know, we've got two channels. So one is listed under Plasma Energy Solution, and the other is listed under Lynn Schmaltz. And hopefully at some point they're all going to have all the same videos on each of the channels. And we do have video links on our website, along with a lot of frequently asked questions and testimonials. There's a lot of blogs that I've done. So there's a wealth of information on the website that you might also want to take a look at. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And if you think you might have gotten a little value out of it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe and share this with your friends. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time. Thank you.